They say airports bring out the worst in people, the clock running you down, the fluorescent lights, the way nobody's quite sure where to stand. I walked into Red Rock Municipal that morning, trying to be invisible. No ribbons, no brass, just boots I hadn't worn since Germany, and a hoodie I bought at a truck stop in Utah. Name's Marcus Hale, Colonel Marcus Hale if you're reading my file, but that day I wanted to be just a dad on a cheap seat headed to surprise his kid. The scanner beeped at gate C14. I knew what it was before the agent looked up a coin stuck in the heel of my boot. Probably a quarter, I said, lifting my foot. The young TSA officer badge said Ortiz had that first week steadiness, hands calm, voice softer than she meant it to be. You're good, sir. Let me rescan the boot. And we would have kept it moving if the other one hadn't stepped in. Pike, Officer Darren Pike, jitters in his coffee chip on his shoulder. Step to the side, hands behind your back. I didn't move fast. Not defiance, just habit. Years of learning that the room watches how a black man moves, not what he says. Officer, I told him it's a coin. Check the boot. He stared like my calm was an insult. Last warning, time does a strange thing. Right before it breaks, it stretches. I raised my hands, elbows out, voice even. You're welcome to check. Ortiz started to say something. He's complying, and then the moment snapped. 3 loud pops, sharp enough to split the air, and suddenly the tile was slick, people were screaming, and I was sitting on the floor against a column, heat burning across my arm. I remember thinking, don't give them the show. No yelling, no pleading, just breathe. Pike's gun was still up. Stay down, he shouted louder than the situation needed. My mouth was dry. Call no one, I told the medic kneeling beside me. Just tell them Colonel G was here. Not bravado protocol. We have a thing for when the world goes sideways, you leave a breadcrumb the right people can follow. The building vibrated before we heard it, that low diesel growl you feel in your chest. Black SUVs outside, unmarked uniforms. A woman in a slate suit flashed a Department of Defense badge that made the air change temperature. Where is Colonel Marcus Hale, she asked, and Pike's face turned the color of flight delay meatloaf. General Naomi Park. I'd briefed her twice, never thought I'd see her at an airport checkpoint. They locked the place down, not with theatrics, just competence. Ortiz kept her hands tight at her sides like she was trying not to shake. When the medic asked for my ID, I said, you have what you need. He didn't understand. She did. Her eyes flicked to the smartwatch on her wrist screen, still glowing. Recording, she'd started it 30 seconds before the shots, right? When Pike's voice went from bored to hunting. I woke up in a quiet room that might as well have been any government hospital. Clean sheets, humming vents, an IV drip that made time slow again. Park came in jaw set. You activated Sentinel-9 with that line, she said. You sure? I nodded. I'm tired of yelling into storms. She didn't smile. Then we anchor this with facts. The facts arrived faster than rumors for once. Ortiz had mirrored the recording in a conference room packed with supervisors who didn't want to believe what they were seeing, me steady as a plumb line. Pike voice climbing the ladder. 3 cracks of a Glock. No threat, just a coin on tile. Someone at the back flinched when the last shot echoed off the walls on playback. Pike said it's edited. The timestamp said otherwise. They put him on leave, and for the first time, he looked like he was hearing his own thoughts with no one to drown them out. An ex-cop named Devin Cole put the video online with 5 words. Watch this, ask who he is. Then he published something worse than a bullet for the agencies that love their acronyms, the training slides. Not the public ones with stock photos and slogans. The quiet doctrine. Codes like 41B appears overly composed in secondary screening, flagged in a column labeled African American males. Another 72K avoids eye contact but shows no visible anxiety. In the margins, somebody had written in pen, or just tired of being watched. That's what did it. Not me bleeding people will rationalize blood. It was the paperwork, the part where they had taught calm to look like danger when it lived in the wrong body. Park moved faster than the press. Red Rock's Terminal C went under federal oversight for evidence protection and witness integrity. The airport director sputtered about jurisdictions. Park stared at him like a clock. You can keep your title, she said. We'll keep the truth. A week later, I was in a suit I hadn't worn since the last funeral. I didn't speak yet, sitting before a house committee that smelled like cameras. I told them a story about bridges. One man falls, that's a tragedy. Dozens fall, you don't blame the feet. You test the structure. I laid out what we called the beacon framework, strip race-coded indicators. Trained to de-escalate first, publish audits, seat civilian boards with real teeth. Consequences that live in policy, not apologies. It wasn't poetry. It was a shopping list for a safer country. Halfway through, Pike walked in wearing a suit he didn't own. I felt the room suck in. He didn't bring a lawyer. "My name is Darren Pike," he said into the mic, voice smaller than at gate C-14. I shot a man because I couldn't reconcile his calm with my fear. And I let a system teach me to see color before compliance. No one clapped. It wasn't that kind of confession. I stood, offered my hand. Not absolution alignment on the one thing that would matter tomorrow. Stop teaching fear like it's a sixth sense. Beacon went live as a pilot in 5 cities that swore they'd be first and best. Ortiz Lana took the job building the training, not because she wanted glory, but because she wanted it to be boring to do the right thing. Devin wrote a series that kept the country from moving on too fast. Park kept the politicians honest, and the thing no one believed would happen started to happen. Fewer confrontations, fewer weapons drawn, fewer moments that turn families into hashtags. Not perfect, nothing is but better, measurably better. A year later, I walked through Red Rock the way I'd wanted to the first time, like a shadow with a boarding pass. The light was still ugly, the coffee still burnt, but the air didn't buzz with suspicion. A kid dropped a nickel at the scanner. The machine beeped. The officer, young steady, smiled, pointed at the coin. "You're good, champ." His mother waited for the hard voice that didn't come and breathed out like she was setting down a bag that wasn't hers to carry. I felt something unclench in my chest I didn't know was there. Above the escalator, they'd hung a small screen with plain text. "This terminal honors those who served with dignity." They didn't put my name on it. Good. That wall is for endings, and I'm still walking. I slipped a piece of paper under the frame, 12 lines that boiled down to one idea. I wish we taught in kindergarten. Justice isn't loud. It's consistent. Now, if you're waiting for me to say, "It's all fixed," don't. Systems don't change because a committee nodded or a general growled. They change because people refuse to rehearse the same bad scene. That's on all of us, the ones in uniform, the ones with cameras, the ones who vote, the ones who hold the door when someone's hands are full. So here's where I leave this with you. Was I lucky because I wore a title? Or did the truth just finally arrive with receipts? Is calm a threat when it's mine, but reassuring when it's yours? Have you watched a scene where someone got treated like a problem on principle and said nothing? Well, I don't need perfect answers. I need honest ones. Drop your take in the comments. Tell me where you think the line is between safety and suspicion. Who gets to draw it and who's been erased by it? If you've seen a moment like that kid and the nickel's something small that meant the world, tell us so the rest of us remember what we're aiming for. And if you want more stories that don't just chase outrage but build standards, hit subscribe, share this with someone who argues in good faith, and keep the conversation loud enough that it becomes habit.